Hello everyone, today we are working with a sketch, specifically this sketch. So it's for the Love of Pretty Paper, which is a UK scrapbooking group on Facebook, and the sketch is by lovely Laura. So when I first saw this sketch, I freaked completely because it's totally not my style. So, one hell of a challenge, but I got through it. So first of all, I'm selecting my photographs. It's the first thing I tend to try and do, but not always. Sometimes it's paper. We'll see. And I'm going to cut these down into the sizes that are on the sketch. So I've got 3x3, 2x2 and 1x1s. So first things first, let's get those to the right size because that's what I'm going to need to build the page. Quite simple, but a bit of a pain to just get them all cut up. It's the way you need to do it though. And by choosing my photos first, I can see what shapes I've got and where things could go. So initially, I'm staying quite true to the sketch with the shapes and the sizes. And the other thing is, with some of the photos, if I cut them too small, I can always piece them back together, which is actually what I wind up doing. But you'll see that shortly. Now I'm going to raid my papers and just find some paper that works with the photos that I've chosen. So it's photos of conkers. It's the first conkers of the season, and my sister calls them shinies. So we're going to scrapbook about shinies. Um, so pulling out a range of papers that I think might complement the photos, and we'll see where we go from there. Now I chose this particularly old sassafras paper as my background, and rather than working straight away with my photos, I'm going to cut out the sizes for the sketch in paper, and I'm using this bright red because I don't use red a lot to help me visualize what it's going to look like and what I need. So I've cut out the single inches, the 2 inches, and the 3 inches, and popping them on the background just in the line as true to the sketch to help me get a feel for the page as to what it's going to look like and how it's going to look. And I hate it. Absolutely hate it. So I need to change this up quite a bit for it to work for me. I did consider different background papers, as you can see, humming and hawing, pulling out loads of scraps to see whether I had something that might work a bit better. And it's very much a process. I didn't like what I was seeing, and my gut instinct was it wasn't working, so I changed tact. Now, pile of papers pulled out, I'm going to start playing around with them. Not for anything specific, but to get colours that work together with the background paper and with the photos. So that was my initial aim, and I'm going to cut these down into 1x1 squares. Now, there's method in my madness. All of the sizes that we have in the sketch are divisible into 1x1 squares. So I decided to make it a bit of a jigsaw. Every single square, every single photo became a 1x1. And it's going to be a mosaic piece at the end of it. And you will see what I mean. It will come together. So initially, I am now just slicing up the paper into 1x1, and it's a great way for me to use up scraps I discovered. So these little stacks of paper to the left there are going to form the basis of the layout with the photos, and the photos are going to get cut down into 1x1 squares. It does make it a bit of a mosaic. It did confuse me for a bit with some of the photos because unless you label them 1, 2, 3, 4, it's easy to get confused when you're working with shapes and sizes. It's not always self-explanatory as to which photo needs to go where. But this is where we get into it. I'm going to start building up our layout, and this is just 1x1 squares, and I am going to follow the sketch, but I'm using 1x1 squares, and I'm going to put them all through the center, as you'll see in a minute. Now, having done that massive jigsaw, because that was forever, I'm going to build some embellishments. Now, she's got 3 embellishment points, and I'm going to use those. I wanted to make these embellishments at the same time as one another, and I want them to be not the same but similar so that there is some sort of cohesiveness within the page. So I'm using very, very similar shapes, similar ephemera, that kind of thing. And I've got different little flare badges that are going to go on the front there as well. So once I've settled on those, I'm going to get those stuck down, and we're going to look at adding them to the paper alongside some thread. So I pulled out a yellow cotton thread, and I'm going to use this behind each of the embellishment pieces. I'll use wet glue to stick it down because it's much easier to glue thread with wet glue. And also I don't have a stapler that's long enough to go into the background there. And it means that I can have the centre part glued down and the rest of it can fly around. I can mess around with it and play with it. So 3 bits glued down, almost, yeah, almost there. And I don't add tons of glue to the thread, I just add it to that centre point. Now I'm going to add a couple of little bits of ephemera just to finish it off. So a little arrow down the bottom, a little sentiment at the top, time to shine, and then a little banner, little green banner. And then almost finally, our title, which is Shiny Season. Now, just to go back to the mosaic a bit, it was a lot of jiggery pokery to get this in place. None of the squares are level, they're not perfect, they're not parallel, but that's the beauty of it. It doesn't have to be precision. It's handmade layout. It doesn't need precision at all. It just needs to look the part, which, according to me, this does, so I'm happy. Now, finally, I decided to add 2019 from a date stamp to this particular layout just to take out some of the stark white of the embellishment just there. So I'm just going to stamp it several times, letting the ink fade out, and that's pretty much it. And you can see how I've translated the sketch from something that I really was intimidated by to a layout that actually looks really complex, but isn't. It is just 1x1 squares of paper on a layout. I hope it inspires you. I hope you enjoy playing along with the sketch, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.